Okay, I'm back doing. This is kind of like take two of my review. I think I fucked the first one. So if you're seeing this on stream, this is like happening again, or like seeing my VOD, whatever. Anyways, so the Freedom Convoy took place this past weekend, and is I guess over now. And my thoughts on it are, I mean, I guess neutral about it. I don't super care because you have the right to protest. Do I agree with the protest? No, and I can give reasons why. And yeah, I mean, we can start with the reasons why I don't agree with the protest. Oh no, I'll start about the No, yeah, we'll go with the reasons why I don't agree with the protest. I don't agree with the protest for a couple reasons. One is the original idea of the protest was to protest the vaccine mandates for cross-border travel between the United States and Canada, which regardless if you get our government to overturn, the United States will still have their laws. The laws were as followed, to my knowledge. If you are a Canadian truck driver traveling to the United States will turn you away unless, of course, you are double vaxxed. If you are a Canadian truck driver or any truck driver coming into Canada, you can come to Canada, but if you're not vaccinated, you have to quarantine for the quarantine period. And then show negative test, I'd assume. That was the law, to my knowledge, at least an abbreviation of it. So you protesting this is utterly pointless because the United States government can just say, okay, go fuck yourself. And then you're fucked anyways. Like you're still trapped because you can't go to the States. Like, okay, congratulations. Anyone can come to Canada, but like no one can go back to the States. So that was pointless. But, I think kind of general people realize this, and the protest kind of turned into about any mandate. So the reason why I disagree with all of that is because it's proven that mandates are effective at stunting the curve and saving lives. And there's a lot of misinformation going around with these protests, and that's truly the honest kind of dagger of the protest is that it's just surrounded by misinformation. I can think of some reasonable reasons to protest the mandate, at least in my eyes, reasonable reasons. Those reasons are, okay, gyms don't need to be closed. They can just be opened with heavy restrictions. So spacing, limited amount of people in the gym at a time, blah, 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 blah. And it seems to be pretty effective at curbing COVID. So gyms can stay open as long as they follow those things. So you can protest and lay out that guideline. Restaurants and bars can also stay open with limited access the same way. I mean, maybe movies theaters can stay closed or limited access. The protest could be hey, everything shouldn't be fully shut down. These full lockdowns need to stop. This, and this. That's a reasonable thing because we know that's effective, and lockdowns are maybe too much. And I can give you some leeway for feels based. Fuck, I can't take this anymore. And the only reason for that is because I'm super biased on all the mandate stuff because my life has basically been not affected by any of this at all. You can say that maybe my dating life has been, but that's pretty much already fucked anyways. Because all I do all day is I go to work, come home, and play video games. So I really don't have time for that anyways. I don't care to make time. So with that, my ideas, my thought about all of it is super, super biased. So I'm giving some extra leeway in the opposite direction where okay, maybe it's possible that the full lockdowns are stressing people enough to a reasonable level. And I just can't possibly think about it. So I'll give you an extra, a little bit of tolerance there. So a reasonable protest to the mandates would be that we don't need to go as hardcore as we have been. Just go back to limited sitting and just keep it there for longer. Because we knew that numbers, the big problem is the provincial government. Oh, that's another thing. Quick addendum. Another reason why the protest is stupid is because most of these laws are provincial laws, not federal laws. The only one that was a federal law was the only of all the protests. So of the protests, what they were all protesting, the only thing that could have changed is that federal truckers law across borders, which if you did change wouldn't matter. So the protest was double fucking stupid because of that. But anyways, so a big issue was that Doug Ford, we all knew, if you had a fucking brain, you knew that the numbers would spike around Christmas. It's flu season, and everything was fucking open. Like, I went to the movies, or I didn't go to the movie. I made sure I found a movie with fucking spacing, and I went like after because I was like, fuck this is stupid. I went to see like Spider-Man, and I went like a week later, just because of this. It was fucking stupid. My friends went, and they told me it's like, yeah, all the restrictions are gone, literally packed in the fucking theater. It's like, oh, wear your mask and you can't have snacks. Like, holy fuck, dude. Actually, no, I think they allowed snacks at Cineplex. So like everyone's just fucking eating and like sitting like right next to each other. Like, it's totally fucking bullshit. But I live in a small enough town that I don't think it really mattered. And maybe Toronto was still like in like a better like restricted zone. But like, holy fuck, no fucking restrictions. So it was like painfully obvious that the numbers were going to spike. And then the numbers spike and we go into like a heavy lockdown. So you can like protest like a heavy lockdown and just say like, hey, we shouldn't be going like full tilt every single time the numbers go up. Just like keep a constant, because it was pretty good. Just before the numbers like omega spiked because of Omicron, things were like okay. I think people were like doing all right. It felt like we were getting through this. And I think if things just kind of stayed at that not, because everything got fucking fully opened up and then we instantly closed it again. Like we just went like way too fucking fast. So if everything stayed like it was, like just kind of light, like, you know, restricted entry and stuff like that, like not everything fucking full blown open, I think we would have been okay. But Doug Ford kind of fucked that one up. But no one's protesting him except for like people online. And then we'll see how the election goes, because we actually have a provincial election in Ontario in July. So there's that. So that's like my reasons for against it, and then like my reasons for like actually legitimately protesting it. So then the reasons why I like heavily disagree with it is because it's just like super far gone from there. The protest just became like anti-vax the protest, where everyone there is like protesting to like remove all mandates, period. No vaccine mandate. Don't even like suggest getting fucking vaccines. No masks. No none of, like everything gone. And it's like it's just pure misinformation. Like, you know that this stuff won't help. It's not like the biggest piece of misinformation that I've seen recently is people want to bring up that surgeries got canceled because of lockdowns. No, surgeries didn't get canceled because of lockdowns. Surgeries got canceled in preparation for an influx of Omicron patients is the main deal, and surgeries also get canceled because of influx of Omicron patients. So we did a preemptive cancellation where the moment lockdowns came in, you know, a bunch of hospitals said we have to cancel your surgery. By the way, all of these surgeries, at least the vast majority of them, are for non-essential, what the fuck is the word for it? Like non-essential surgeries, elective surgeries. So not life-threatening surgeries. You'll find some stupid fucks stories online about like how someone died because their surgery got canceled. But for the most part, that didn't happen. And if it did happen, it's not the fault of the lockdown. It's the fault of increased case numbers and increased hospitalizations due to increased case numbers / COVID. That's why. So people are spreading this around like, oh my God, people are like, this protest is for people who died because their surgeries got canceled. You're on the wrong side. That's just misinformation. You're fighting from the wrong side. There's a bunch of other misinformation, of course, like, you know, masks don't work, fucking lockdowns don't work. We know these all work. You're allowed to be tired of them and say, fuck it. But then we have to get into like a morality question, which is fine. You can argue about morals and you can argue about like the ethics. Like, if your position on, if you went to this protest and your position was like, no, I know lockdowns work. I know vaccines work. I know I'm vaxxed. I know they work. I know this. I know that. I know lockdowns work. I know masks work. I'm just tired of it all. Fuck it all. I don't care. I don't care how many fucking people die. Fuck them all. Who the fuck cares? I'll survive. I don't care. Live or die. Whatever. If that's like your legitimate idea of like what's happening, that's technically most people's idea. When I ask anyone, most of their ideas break down into that. They just kind of dodge around it because they know it sounds shitty. But if you own that, that's like, a what would be the term for it? That's a not really logical. Fuck. Uh, that's a valid point. There's another word for it that I just don't. I can't put my fucking tongue on it. But that's like valid. A valid point that can be respected. Because you have to open up a word of ethics. So like now you're on a debate of like, okay, in a society, should we just allow people to die and blah 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 blah. And now you have to open it into an ethics debate, which you can get into, and I can debunk the ethics debate. That's probably the wrong word to use, debunk. But like I can argue against the ethics debate, and you can have a good argument about it. And I would I would like to think I would win that, but it would actually be like an argument instead of this was just misinformation. There's no argument to be had. You're just wrong on how all this stuff works. You're just you're just dumb. Like there's no argument to be had. There is an argument to be had about like opening it all up and just letting people die, because now it's a thing about ethics. So my side of the argument would be, in a society you are bought in to whatever society you're a part of. To like, this is how you make a society, is that everyone is bought into some level. That those levels have like different degrees. So like public safety is like, well, I'm wondering how can I break, is there like sectors of it? So like public safety would be one sector. Maybe taxes is another, whatever. Like these are certain things that happen in a society that you have to like buy into. Um, uh, um, there's a lot of things that you just buy into that like that makes you a part of society. Sorry, I have to respond to a message to somebody. Like there's there's certain things that you have to buy. Sorry, I'm repeating this for the third fucking time, but to have a society, there are certain things that you need to buy into and do to exist in said society. That's pay your taxes. That's care for others in like a small way, and I'll explain that more. And I think they're like, so like public safety, taxes, they're a little bit intertwined, and I think that's mostly it, is like the two things you kind of need for like a society to form. Oh, and then government, I guess, but taxes kind of goes into government because you can't really collect taxes without government. So like those are like three loose things you can look at. And so what I mean by taxes is that taxes, you collect taxes to pay for infrastructure and all that stuff. That's like the key one about society, is you kind of need to have taxes on some level to pay for a bunch of different things. For Canada, it's healthcare, infrastructure, schooling, blah, 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 blah. That's what we need taxes for. You don't get that otherwise. So that's like buy-in number one. Buy-in number two is public safety, and that is that has other applications. So some basic ones that you'll all know is seatbelts. Okay, you don't there's no like, you can argue that you don't need to wear your seatbelt because you're a good driver and you don't care if you die. But the point of a seatbelt is to stop you from dying and stop others from dying. So you mandate it for everyone to wear seatbelts because there's a buy-in to the society, and we don't want people fucking dying because they're getting flown out of their fucking window. So we just you have to wear a seatbelt. That's like a buy-in. To drive a car, which is already a privilege, that's another buy-in. Anyways, to drive a car, that's a privilege, and to have this privilege, you also need to wear the seatbelt. That's like that's another buy-in kind of thing. If you want to drive a car, you have to wear a seatbelt, and the seatbelt's there to save you, even if you don't want to be saved, right? So other public safety buy-ins is that you can't fucking go around being a fucking bioterrorist. So ignoring COVID, you can't go around with like fucking polio and infecting everyone around you. You will get charged for that and thrown in jail. So I'll come back to that in a second. Other buy-ins for public safety, can't drive recklessly, but that goes back into the privilege thing about driving a car. That's like you get a license to prove that you're not a reckless driver. But other basic things is you can't just go around with murderous rampages. You can't be hateful towards others. Like a bunch of like public safety things that other buy-ins do. You can name a bajillion of them. In terms of government, again, it kind of goes into taxes. The government is the one dictating the implementation of the taxes. so infrastructure, schooling, blah, 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 blah. They can set up curriculums. They can set up roads. They can set up healthcare systems. That's the other buy-in. Back to being a fucking public hazard because you are fucking a toxic sludge ball of disease. With COVID, to idiots, this becomes a gray area because it's like, oh, it's not that deadly. But the death rate for everyone is about less than 1%. But the death rate for certain ages of people increases. So yes, the death rate for all humans in existence is about 0.01%. But the death rate for people above 65 years old is like 75%. And it only increases when you get older. So in our society, is it justified that we just are saying, and we're allowing anybody above the age of 65 to just die? Or possibly die, I guess. Is that like okay for our society to allow? Is that a thing? Is that a goal? Is that like part of our society that we want to have? That just, oh, I'll be fine. Go fuck yourself. Is that like a normal thing we want to have in our society? The answer to a sane person should be no. You shouldn't have your society be broken up into like individualism. You have a certain buy-in because like, sure, right now, you might say, hey, I'll survive COVID. It'll be fine. But what happens when you turn 65 and you can't survive? Like, will you think the same way? Like, fuck, I guess this is what oh, man. I guess I just got to fucking off myself now. In a video game. So, we care for others in society. That's just one of the buy-ins. And part of that is not being a fucking bioterrorist that kills anyone above the age of 65 because you don't care because you're not above the age of 65. Right? Like, that's just like a common courtesy thing. Yes, COVID will probably not hurt you and kill you if you're below the age of 50. But we can't dictate what we do based on the ages of the majority, right? So like, if a disease, I would use COVID more, but it's too loose to kind of go about. But if a disease showed up in the world tomorrow, in Canada, whatever, in the world tomorrow, that only killed people below the age of 10, and I pick a lower age because it triggers a lot of like human responses. They're children, and mostly they're children. They're young, so they can't really like think for themselves. And the third major thing is they can't vote. So, and like the children thing is like a heartfelt, like, oh, the kids. So if a disease showed up that only killed the young in a population, would you still have the same sentiment of like, oh yeah, fuck this, I'm not gonna die, I'm 12 years old, I'm good, bro, or I'm of age of voting, I'm 16 years old? Or do you have to be 18 in Canada? I don't even remember. I think you have to be 18. I could be wrong. I think it's 18. Same as drinking, right? Anyways, I am a voting age. Fuck you. I'm voting to kill you now because I won't die. I don't want to go through all of these like heavily excessive lockdowns to save some kids. Fuck them kids. I don't think our society would fucking function that way. So it's weird that it functions that way towards older people. Maybe because a lot of people that think that way have gotten this kind of twisted image in their mind that like, oh, they're going to die anyways. They're old as fuck. They might have died from COVID. It could have also been a heart attack. Who knows? Who knows? So they gotten like twisted in this way where they can just allow themselves to like not care about old people. So I don't want to live in a society where we just don't give a fuck about old people. Because then why the fuck do we have like retirement insurance? Why does the Canadian pension plan exist? Why does like any of this shit exist if we just don't give a fuck about old people? So like if we're not giving a fuck about old people for a fucking pandemic, why the fuck are we giving out old people at all? Period. Fuck Canadian pension plan. Fuck all this shit. Just let old people die, and then like our fucking, average lifespan would lower in Canada. Anyways, it's besides the point. Yeah, I don't want to live in that society, but it's a stronger argument for you. That's a more grounded in reality argument, is for you to just say, fuck old people, I want to live now, because it's just an ethics debate, which is totally different than you just being factually wrong about how like everything works. So that's like, that was a huge almost tangent on everything, but that's like the big reason why these protests are fucking stupid, is because they're not, at the core of them, they're not even grounded in fucking reality. Like with BLM, those protests were about something real that were actually going on, and arguments for and against the BLM rally from normal people were both productive. Well, okay. How can I word this better? You had arguments on the right that were fucking crazy about BLM, just like, oh, they're all violent, they're all blah, blah, blah. You all know them. And then we had some bad takes from BLM protesters as well, which was the whole ACAB shit, right? So those were two things that were fucking disconnected from reality. Like, getting rid of the police force is fucking insane, okay? And it's been proven to be insane thanks to BLM. But, like, none of the, like, ACAB wasn't like ACAB wasn't like the only thing that they were protesting about, and it was like the one flaw about it. Like, the entire Freedom Convoy is flawed, because every idea of everyone there is like stupid and not based in reality. Like with BLM, black people and other people of color and minorities are in general discriminated against on the whole. Okay, so like them having the blip of ACAB is okay because they're still protesting about something else that's like real. Whereas with this Freedom Convoy shit, every single thing they're protesting about is fucking delusional. So yeah. I'm trying to think if I had another point about this. Yeah, like, that's just kind of it. At the end of it all, too many people I know have cracked because of this fucking pandemic. People have just lost their fucking marbles. Generally, generally people are fucking saying, genuinely. That's what I meant to say. I don't know why the fuck I said generally. Genuinely, people are starting to flip to the side of fuck old people, just let them all die. I want to go back to my normal life. Which is a scary thought, but at least like you're more like grounded in reality, I guess. And I can just call you a piece of shit, basically. And you can either accept that or not. And if you accept that, I mean, kudos to you, buddy. I just hope that not everyone agrees with you. Yeah, yeah, too many people I know just have like fallen into like misinformation about it all. I mean, of course, I'd be lying if I said that like I don't know people that fall for like leftism misinformation. But that's not a big topic in Canada right now. Right now, there was a protest in Ottawa going on. It was major news everywhere. So, I'm not too worried about like leftism misinformation. But anyways, yeah, I think that's a better description of my problems with the Freedom Convoy. Is that it's just dumb. It's just unbelievably stupid. But hey, if you want to talk about it, please fucking come talk to me about it. Further points. Nobody, to my knowledge, has been able to link me at any point Justin Trudeau calling them terrorists. Or any of the bad things he said. The most I've heard is that he said that the people coming here are a fringe minority, which they are. And I think also that was in response to like potential for like violent protesters being there, because he mentioned like them with like bad views or whatever. So it's either A, they are actually a fringe minority, because they are, or B, he was talking about the fringe of the fringe minority, which is like the fucking crazies who would start shit. But for all of the things that like are bad, like that are like overreaching from like the left on the protesters do a phenomenal job of reaching the complete opposite fucking way, where it's like, oh yeah, well, Trudeau, you baby bitch, you were hiding. Like, it's literally standard procedure that if the fucking capital of Canada is dealing with anything, protest or whatnot, the prime minister is going to move to a secret location. Like, fucking duh, you fucking moron. What do you think? He's just going to sit there while 20, 300 fuck Trudeau flags are sitting there? He's just going to stand on, like, the balcony of the Capitol, just like, yeah, this is the Parliament building. Hello, everyone. Like, oh, holy fuck. He's just asking to be shot at that point. Jesus fuck. Like, you don't think that people in that crowd legitimately might, like, actually pull out a fucking gun on him in like, the heat of the moment or whatever? Like, holy fuck. You are deranged. If you don't know that that's, like, literally standard procedure, that if there's any kind of anything going on that's a security threat, the prime minister is going to get moved. Like, duh. He's not like a baby for doing it. And then there's some other bullshit, like, I saw fucking, like, Kim Iverson. She was, like, at one point a progressive talk show host, and apparently is just a fucking lunatic now. I don't know if, like, she became a Tulsi supporter, and now it's just fucking bananas. I saw her fucking thing about the Freedom Convoy today. I couldn't watch the whole thing. I blew up. I literally exploded, because, she was calling Trudeau a hypocrite because apparently at some point he said that vaccines were like... No, she said the right thing about vaccines, and then just, like, her brain just disconnected and she went AFK. Because she said the truth, which is that vaccines stop the spread, or, like, and that's a hyperbole of, like, the truth, which is that, like, oh, vaccines slow the spread and, like, contain, and, like, it's harder for you to blah blah. You know, it's a lot easier to say instead of, like, it stops the spread, and it does. It's not, like, 100% fucking effective. No one has fucking said that ever. It's just that it's harder for you to get it. You have less symptoms. So with the vaccine, it's harder for you to get it in the first place, and you have less symptoms, so it's harder for you to transmit it as well. So that leads to the spread being slowed. But anyway, she was like, oh, Trudeau's a hypocrite because even though he's double vaxxed, he's still got coronavirus. It's like, you want this level of fucking derangement? Anyways. So that's like that was a weird... I just saw that. My brain exploded when I saw that, because she used to be a progressive... I don't even know if she was. Maybe she's been grifting this whole fucking time. I have no idea. But yeah, so for any, like, leftism overreach into these protests, calling, like, people, like, literal fucking racist because a couple Nazis were there, it's like, at the same time, I can't find a single fucking video. Like, okay, here's the gist of, like, the Nazi stuff. I don't even know if I mentioned this. If Nazis are at your rally and you don't tell them to leave, they become a representation of your rally. That's just the gist of it. No amount of you standing there, who cares how popular you are, is going to stop Nazis from representing a rally if you don't tell them to leave. I saw one conservative, anybody there, and then one conservative MP. I forget what, pure something stupid. All of them said the same shit, which is, oh, they don't represent the rally. Yeah, no shit, you might say that, but if they're at the rally and they're not told to leave, they're representing the rally. That's just how it works. So you have to actively tell them to leave, and I haven't seen a single fucking video about them leaving. So there might be a little bit of leftist overreach saying that, like, oh, everyone at the protest is, like, fucking Nazis because there's a couple Nazis there. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of a reach. But at the same time, if I can't find a single fucking video of any protesters telling Nazis to fucking leave, okay? Now, there wasn't a fuck ton of Nazis, so maybe I just missed it, okay? But I watched a lot of live streams. I've looked around. I've Googled, blah, 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 blah. There has been, like, that one photo of Nazi flags, there's, like, that one main photo of, like, a group of, like, 5 with Nazi flags and Confederate flags. But, there's a lot of those photos, so that gives the impression that they were around for a while. Okay, maybe the whole time. And, yeah, there's a lot of, like, upside down Nazi flag, Canada flag stuff, and, like, there was one Nazi flag. There's a lot of Confederate flags, and then a lot of other, like, they're upside down, like, Nazi, well, maybe not a lot of these. There's a lot of upside down Canada flags, whatever. And then there's a lot of, there was a couple, I'll say a couple, I won't say a lot. I'll say a couple of, just to be charitable, fuck it, I don't care. A couple of Canada flags, which I think were also upside down with, like, a Nazi symbol on them. It was like Canada's Nazi flag or something. I don't know what the fuck. I don't care. So yeah, if you're not actively telling them to leave, and your organizers aren't actively telling them to leave, and your most popular protesters that aren't actively telling them to leave, they are a representation of your movement. It doesn't matter if some random fucks on the grounds, random fuck protesters told them to leave, and they maybe left for a bit. If the main organizers are like, they don't represent us, but they can stay because they have the right to protest. Or they're saying like, well, if we fight them, then the mainstream media will spin it. The mainstream media hasn't spun this one way or the other at all. All I've seen from CBC, Net, Global News, and whatever the fuck is, oh, it's mostly peaceful. We've seen some Nazis around, but for the most part, it's peaceful. There are some worries, of course, from the police that it might get violent, but so far it hasn't. Blah, 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 blah. Standard, normal fucking stuff. So, yeah, that's more to it, is that for any amount of leftist overreach, I'll call it, there's like 10x right-wing overreach into like everything going on. So, like, there's this one image where it's like the news like focusing on a bunch of Nazis and like the whole crowd behind them, like, oh, peaceful protest, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, that might be true, but like you have to change the image a little bit, which is that like those Nazis are like in the crowd and there's a camera on them in the crowd and everyone's standing around them and everyone looks cool around them, but like they're in the crowd. Like, they're still in the crowd. You might say you don't want them in the crowd, but they're still in the crowd. You got to tell them to leave. So until I see more like of, the Nazis being told to leave, then I'm not gonna really believe you. But at the end of the day, it seemed like it was mostly a peaceful protest. Nothing is really gonna come from it because it was a useless fucking protest. So at the end of the day, I think most people there just have a party and they think they're doing the right thing, but they're really just not, and they're kind of stupid, and they all hold misinformation views, and that's the real problem about it all, is that everyone's fucking stupid, and not enough people are like doing the rounds of like doing their due diligence. Like, you can support the rally, but just take 2 seconds and say, fuck these fucking loser fucks, and show a picture of the Nazis and go, fuck these guys, I don't want them here. That's it. That's all you gotta do. It's really fucking simple. I can count now. Again, here's the big, I can look at BLM videos all fucking day of them telling rioters and stupid fuck, loser fuck, Antifa fucks who are burning shit down to leave. Okay, I can find that anywhere. I can't find anything with this rally thing. Now, BLM went on for a fucking year, and this is one, like, 2 days. So maybe some videos will crop up later. But for now, I can't find fucking anything. But yeah, so I think that's all I have about that. Again, if you have any disagreements or you support the rally, please talk to me, because yeah, I want to pick your brain. Yeah, it's been fun. If you're catching this on, if I'm streaming, I'm going to keep streaming, but if you're catching this on YouTube, probably take care. I think I'm ending the video here on YouTube, I would assume. And yeah, it's been a fun couple days. I'm going to play some video games now, hopefully.